It's a beautiful day for baseball, and live from Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Cleveland Indians as the Dodgers get ready to play their 22nd game of the spring. Hi again, everybody. Charlie Steiner, Rick Monday. Good to have you with us. The Dodgers had a split squad yesterday, one down in Tucson, 17-4 over the White Sox on 23 base hits. Were shut out by Kansas City. And today, a couple of veterans are going to have at it. Chris Capuano for the Dodgers and an old friend, Derek Lowe.
You know, the thing is so far, Chris Capuano's coming over the Dodgers, coming off of two different surgeries. He's pitched very well, and he's been right on. One thing we've noticed about Capuano over the years, he works to both sides of the plate really well. He's done it so far this spring. And for Derek Lowe, coming off a 17-loss season a year ago, he had kind of a humorous way to analyze spring so far. He says, look, I've got nowhere to go but up. As far as Lowe, he's going to spot it and throw the sinker, but good story so far for Capuano.
And as far as the Dodgers are concerned this afternoon, you're going to see the everyday starting eight as the game begins.
And the clock is kind of ticking. The veteran players, they know that they still have some time to do it. This is kind of a boring time for the veteran players. There's a lot of guys trying to earn spots and keep a job. For them, time is starting to run out.
Lineups and batting orders coming up next. The Dodgers and Indians are on deck. Nine is brought to you by Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu any time of the day, and by your Southern California Toyota dealers. A picture-perfect Saturday afternoon here in the desert, 81 degrees. As the Dodgers take the field, the magic number is 12. 12 days until opening day. The Dodgers and the Padres will be in San Diego. The Cleveland Indians will be hosting the Toronto Blue Jays in Cleveland. Now to the batting orders that Chris Capuano will be facing today under the tutelage of Manny Acta, his third season as the manager of the Indians. Jason Donald leads off at short, and Jason Kipnis is the second baseman. As Drupal Cabrera, Matt Laporta, and Casey Kochman through the middle of the lineup. Andy LaRoche, the one-time Dodger, bats sixth. Ryan Spilborg's in center field, hitting seventh. He's from Santa Barbara, and of course the former Colorado Rocky. Aaron Cunningham, former Padre, is in right. Lou Marson is catching and batting ninth. And 33-year-old left-hander Chris Capuano will be making his fourth start of the spring.
And for Capuano's a young man that grew up in Massachusetts, actually had a picture of Roger Clemens hanging on his bedroom wall. We've seen him so far. You see the numbers last year with the Mets coming back from surgery, but for Capuano so far this spring, the breaking ball has been right there, and he's had a very good changeup. We mentioned at the outset he works both sides of the plate. He'll go inside and outside, and it does not matter, Charlie, if it's a right-handed batter or a left-handed batter. Capuano feels that he owns the strike zone.
He doesn't blow hitters away with a 90-something mile-an-hour fastball. He's a very smart cookie out there. Of course, he graduated magna cum laude from Duke in an economics major.
He has an idea of what he's doing, and the changeup that we saw him a week ago use the changeup, and that was a big weapon. Now, we don't know if he's still working on a couple of other pitches or not, but for Capuano, he likes to work rapidly and, again, tries to control the strike zone.
Jason Donald will lead off for the Indians, and then Kipnis and Cabrera. The Indians come into this game 6-12-3 this spring. The Dodgers 10 up, 7 down, and they've played 4 ties. We expect Capuano to throw about 80-85 pitches today, and then the Dodgers will have another half dozen relievers out of the pen. Here comes the first pitch of the afternoon from Capuano, and it's a call strike, 0-1. Capuano this spring in 8 2/3 innings has given up 4 earned runs and 6 base hits. He has struck out 10 and walked 2. And the 0-1 is inside and low. And it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Jamie Wright, Mike McDougal, Kenley Jansen, Todd Coffey, and John Grabo are scheduled to pitch after Capuano's appearance today. Beautiful afternoon here in Glendale, Arizona. And is fouled off to the right, 1-2.
See Capuano and working very closely also with A.J. Ellis. And Ellis and Capuano understand one another. First pitch, where was Ellis sitting? Outside corner. Where was the pitch? Right to the glove. So again, working in and out. And for A.J. Ellis, he understands this pitching staff, including the new additions, very well.
The 1-2 on the way, swung on and missed, strike 3. He pulls the string down and away. Donald is retired, 1 out, nobody on. Playing defense behind Capuano this afternoon on the left side of the infield, Juan Uribe and D. Gordon. Mark Ellis and James Loney on the right. And the outfield of Rivera, Kemp, and Ethier. A.J. Ellis is back behind the plate. So 1 out and nobody on. Now Jason Kipnis. They like him a lot. They see him as the future second baseman for years to come in Cleveland. And he takes a ball inside and low, 1 ball, no strikes.
Kipnis out of Arizona State. He was the Indians Minor League Player of the Year 2010.
The 1-0 on the way. Just inside and low. 2 balls, no strikes.
One of the things I also like about Kipnis, left-handed batter, but he's held his own against left-handed pitching thus far. Tends to get a little bit long with the swing.
Through the heart of the plate, 2-1.
And by long with the swing, we're talking about at times it's a little bit of an overstride. He'll carry the bat a long way. Kind of an awkward start to begin with, hands out in front, but he'll bring those back.
The 2-1. Breaking ball for a strike, 2-2. Kipnis, born and raised, lives in Chicago. And you talk to the Indians people, and they see a lot of Chase Utley in him. He's a little scrapper as he whoops a base hit into center field.
And that's what we're talking about, holding his own against left-handed pitching. Doesn't have to hit it that hard, which he didn't there. But he gets aboard, and normally the Indians, they're going to throw some offense at you. They got up to that wonderful start last year, 30 wins and 15 losses, and the rest of the season was downhill.
As Drupal Cabrera had a career year last year, as he steps into the batter's box, he's 7 for 32 so far this spring. And the Indians got off to that great start. And then around the trade deadline, they were within a game and a half of the Tigers. They went out got Ubaldo Jimenez from Colorado in hopes that would be the big injection for a run toward the pennant. Didn't work out that way. They were about a 500 team after that as the Tigers exploded. No balls and a strike to Cabrera with Matt Laporta on deck. And Capuano's got one of the best moves to first base of any pitcher in the big leagues. Throws over there and Kipnis finds out. No balls, 1 strike. And Capuano hastens the move over. Cabrera 273 last year with 25 home runs and 92 runs batted in. He had never, Cabrera, hit double digits in home runs at any level of his professional career until he burst out in a big way last season with 25. 0-2, just underway.
Does that 25 home run mark now change him as far as his approach to a hitter? Does he think he is a long ball hitter strictly now?
Cabrera on 0-2. Takes high.
The reason I bring that up, Charlie, is that Cabrera has a lot of quickness in his hands, but he's better suited. Very similar to Matt Kemp. Now, Kemp has much more power than Cabrera, but Cabrera's best suited to go left center, right center. The Dodgers play him pretty well straight away, but he's not power oriented. He's base hit oriented.
The 1-2 swung on and missed, strike 3. That's the second out of the first.
And saw a little bit more on the fastball as far as velocity by Capuano there as Cabrera chased one up and away from him.
And again, with Capuano, doesn't throw terribly hard. When he does throw that fastball up, it seems to a hitter it's a lot faster than it really is.
Oh, it is. And I think the other part that he does, and I would advise any pitcher in particular that has a good changeup, is to work rapidly. The reason? Well, the previous pitch is still very fresh in the hitter's mind.
Matt Laporta, 5 for 27 this spring, and on the first pitch he sees from Capuano, pops routinely to Mark Ellis. And a good inning for Chris Capuano. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. After the first half of the first, it's the Indians 0 and the Dodgers are coming up. First inning for Chris Capuano. No runs and a hit, 2 strikeouts, 14 pitches, of which 10 were for strikes. Now the Dodger batting order: Dee Gordon, Mark Ellis, and Matt Kemp will lead it off for Don Mattingly's crew. Andre Ethier, Juan Rivera, James Loney, and the bottom third, Juan Uribe, A.J. Ellis, and Chris Capuano. Well, it's been a good spring for Dee Gordon so far. Yesterday he was 3 for 3. He's stolen 7 out of 8 bases. He's hitting .395. But maybe the most important stat for Dee Gordon and the Dodgers this spring, an on-base percentage of .477. And when he gets on base, he makes things happen. A little bunt up the third base line, and Mr. LaRoche might as well put it in his hip pocket. So Dee Gordon, who began a game against Jared Weaver against the Angels about 10 days ago with a bunt down the third baseline. It so unhinged Weaver The Dodgers would score 3 in the first, and here's Gordon doing it again.
Spent about a half hour this morning talking to Maury Wills, and this is another dimension that Dee Gordon and Maury have worked with. Oh, it's the bunt, but this time to third base. Dee Gordon really is more proficient in taking the ball with him to first, but this is another look. Drop it to third base. Good bunt, and the speed is aboard.
7 out of 8 stolen bases this year for Gordon, and ball under the knees to Mark Ellis. 1 ball, no strikes.
We know one thing about Derek Lowe, and Ellis comes to home plate and knows it. Lowe is a sinker ball pitcher, and a frightful season last year of 9 wins, 17 losses. ERA is over 5. Interesting, a couple of days ago, Lowe says, I cannot throw a slider to save my life. And you think normally a guy throws a sinker, well, the slider is the next pitch you go to.
Well, one thing about Derek Lowe, he is not shy about sharing his feelings about anything. As Ellis whacks one into the Indian dugout, and everybody seems to be okay over there. Again, statistics in spring you can only take so far. However, there are some numbers that are really noteworthy, and we mentioned Gordon now with an on-base percentage of pretty near 500. He's stolen 7 out of 8. The middle of the order, Ellis has 7 RBIs. Kemp has 9, Ethier has 10, and Rivera has 8. So if they can get the speedster Gordon on base, and Ellis and Kemp and Ethier and Rivera producing as they have, again, it's 12 days until opening day, positive signs here on the 24th of March. Casey Kochman holding Gordon on, and there goes Gordon, and there's a throw, and it goes into center field, and Gordon will go to third. Here's a throw, not in time.
Well, it's amazing what speed does. A base hit on the bunt that travels on the bunt base hit maybe 20 feet. Well, that 20-foot base hit is now worked into a stolen base to second, to third on the wild throw. Boy, this is a dimension that if Dee Gordon can get on base consistently this year, it's going to be a delight to bat on the top of the order with him in scoring position.
So for Dee Gordon, a bunt is as good as a triple. 2 balls and a strike. He's stolen 8 out of 9. Marson had to rush the throw. He had no chance to begin with. And Ellis with a ground ball to short, and just like that, the Dodgers take a 1-0 lead.
Don Mattingly talked about it the very first day in spring training as Dee Gordon shakes hands with Mattingly and the rest of the group. Play efficient baseball. Take what is given to you, and that's exactly what they've done. 2 batters into the offense, they have a run on the board.
Just as the Dodgers did against Weaver and the Angels 12 days ago. One to nothing as Matt Kemp steps into the batter's box. Yesterday, Kemp 3 out of 4 down in Tucson. Cracked his second home run of the spring, and it's 0-1. Andre Ethier is on deck. The 0-1, swing and a miss, 0-2. So now Mark Ellis with his 8th RBI of the spring. Kemp has 9, Ethier has 10, Rivera has 8. No balls, 2 strikes. Kemp has struck out a fair amount this spring. And that was the 15th time he's gone down on strikes. That's the 2nd out of the 1st.
That's the only concern is, are we seeing patterns against Matt Kemp, who, folks, had such a monstrous season last year. Not just offensively, but defensively, on the bases, the way he prepared. And he prepared even more, but for Derek Lowe, he went outside, and the ball came back, got the corner.
Andre Ethier having an outstanding spring. The surgically repaired knee is healed. The big toe is fine. He has a firm foundation and a .429 batting average. Takes a strike, 0-1.
Is Ethier making a point to himself as well? Because it's been very well reported. Don Mattingly says, look, there's 2 guys in our lineup, did not handle left-handers again well last year. Ethier's one, Loney's the other. Well, Ethier's held his own against lefties as well.
And Lowe quickly gets ahead, 0-2.
That Ethier is healthy. And you can tell just his approach at home plate, that knee is no longer an issue.
On 0-2, Ethier Lines one right into the glove of third baseman Andy LaRoche, and that ends the inning. Speed kills. Gordon hit in a stolen base. The Dodgers lead 1-0. Gordon with the bunt base hit, his 8th stolen base of the spring, knocked in on an infield out by Mark Ellis and the Dodgers. And Chris Capuano have themselves a 1-0 lead as Casey Kochman begins the second inning for the Tribe and lays off a breaking ball down and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Kochman coming off his best year in the big leagues in Tampa, 146 games and hit .306. Came up, of course, in the Angel organization, and his dad, Tom, longtime scout, minor league manager. So Kochman comes from good stock. Andy LaRoche, the former Dodger, on deck. Capuano on 2-0. Takes a strike, goes Kochman, and it's 2-1.
Kochman's been a pretty good hitter. In fact, don't really know where the story came from. He's not certain of it, but his folks say it was about 2 or 3 years of age. He began to swing a Fred Flintstone plastic bat. He's been swinging it ever since.
Turning balls into pebbles, was it?
Absolutely. And the brakes can wear out your shoes in a hurry.
2-2. Kochman turned 29 last month. Lives in St. Petersburg now.
Kochman has always been one of those type players. When you talk to his teammates, they love him. He is a I'm all in type of a guy. And one of the best traits that his dad says he was able to pass on to his son was the fact that your work is never over. If you have a good day today, you better back it up tomorrow.
Off the end of the bat, Kochman stays alive. And a very good defensive first baseman, Casey Kochman. Came up as a pro in 2001. Well, the Indians finished a couple of games under 500 down the third base line. It's a fair ball, and Kochman's going to have himself a double.
Well, just spraying the ball. Kochman with that open stance, a little bit more pronounced open stance against the lefty. He gets a better look at it. Inside out swing, but to perfection with a 2-strike pitch. And just barely fair ball.
For Kochman, his 8th hit of the spring, his 2nd double. And the one-time Dodger prospect Andy LaRoche steps into the batter's box. LaRoche 6 for 16 this spring with the Tribe. LaRoche trying to hang on for a job with the major league roster. Loops one into right field for a base hit. Kochman doesn't run especially well. He's rounding third, and he will score. So Kochman with a double to left, LaRoche with a single to right, and the Indians have tied the score at 1.
Well, for LaRoche, who's really had some disappointment in his career. He's been with the Dodgers organization, the Pirates last year, and briefly also with the A's. One thing that is going to be talked about, Charlie, there's a kind of an insignificant play. Ethier gets the ball. There's no play on Kochman. But the cutoff throw did not hit the cutoff men. And those are little things that they will talk about, and they will tweak and do things. But just awareness. And this camp has really shown a great deal of awareness to the little particular things.
Ryan Spilborghs, the one-time Rocky, takes high and away. 1 ball, no strikes out of Santa Barbara. A run, 3 hits for the Indians, and the Dodgers 1 run and 1 base hit. Under the knees, 2-0.
Now, Spilborghs can hit. It's not with a great deal of power. Over 1,500 at bats at the major league level, 42 home runs, but career hitter at 272, so he normally puts the ball into play.
Now 32 years of age. That's half a dozen years in the big leagues, and all with the Rockies. So the Dodgers have seen him a lot over the years. Capuano, who sailed through the first inning, struggling here in the second. Three balls and a strike. Capuano majored in economics at Duke. Spilborghs at UC Santa Barbara was a psychology major. And the pride of Austin Peay. A.J. Ellis is catching for the Dodgers, and here's a 3-1. Foul back, 3-2.
Spilborghs is a good chance because Manny Acta has just kind of basically put it up in neon lights. Left field, it is an uncertainty. In fact, for Manny Acta a couple of days ago, he says we are real close to saying we have a help wanted sign for left field, in particular with following some surgery. Grady Sizemore, so that has opened it up. And then Acta says, you know, if you can hit, if you can play the outfield and you can hit, we'll find a place for you.
Spilborghs 6 for 30 this spring. Now on 3-2. LaRoche doesn't run terribly well, and Capuano's got a great move. So LaRoche stays put, and Spilborghs pops it into short center field, and drifting on in is Matt Kemp.
For those that missed it, Grady Sizemore with the Indians, back surgery on the 1st of March. Michael Brantley has moved basically from left field to center. But Brantley's sidelined with a right hamstring injury. Shin-Soo Choo is going to be the right fielder, but left field, well, are we going to see Shelley Duncan there? We're going to see Spilborghs there possibly. He's playing in center field today. I mean, it's open call, help wanted in the left.
And Sizemore not expected back until give or take the All-Star break. He bent over to pick up a ground ball the first couple of days of spring, and his back went out. So he had to have some surgery to repair it. Aaron Cunningham, no balls and a strike, 6 for 28. Another one auditioning for the role in left. The former Padre drills a base hit between short and third. LaRoche will hold at second. Third hit of the inning for the Indians. And Lou Marson is coming up, the catcher. At least the catcher today. Carlos Santana, of course, is going to be the Indians' everyday catcher, a great young hitter. Marson this spring, 6 for 15. First and second, 1 out, 1 in the second inning. Tied at 1.
Marson had ideas of playing quarterback in college until he broke his collarbone as a high school senior. He goes, you know, I like this other sport, baseball, better.
Marson from Scottsdale. He came over from the Phillies in the deal that sent Cliff Lee and Ben Francisco to Philadelphia back in 2009 at the trade deadline.
Barson's learning to pull the ball a little bit better. Now, some may say that's good because he was getting tied up on fastballs and on his hands. Others say, well, is it going to cause him to fly out and open up a little bit too much too early?
A ball and strike.
But not quite 600 major league at bats and a 218 average, which will indicate if you have a weakness and you're getting pounded inside with fastballs, it would be very wise to make an adjustment and learn how to hit that pitch.
Here's the 1-1. Into short center field. Matt Kemp sprinting in and makes the catch as Mark Ellis at the last instant wisely peels off.
Kind of a high overcast sky. There's sunshine that is out. You got the feeling that Matt Kemp did not see that ball exceptionally well. Just watching some of the Dodgers take batting practice here earlier today was one of those, well, difficult to see kind of situations to begin with.
So with 2 out and 2 on, Jason Donald steps into the batter's box, struck out swinging in his first at bat. 1 ball and no strikes. Donald also came over from the Phillies in that Cliff Lee deal.
Yeah, he's trying to stay healthy. Out of University of Arizona. 3rd round pick by the Phillies in 2006, but a year last year he spent more time in the hospital. 2 different times on the disabled list.
7 for 30 this spring, and he fouls it off his foot.
He had a torn meniscus in his left knee. Missed about a month. That was from May to June, and then when he finally got back underway, sustained another injury.
And the Indians, as you mentioned, are already struggling this spring with injuries. The Dodgers, on the other hand, knock wood, have been very healthy so far. Here's the 1-1. Foul back and out of play, 1-2, and with 12 days to go before opening day. At this point, the focus is for the Dodgers and everybody for that matter to get to the starting gate healthy.
We talked about in the open, this is a time for veteran players that know they have a position made. They're not on cruise control, but this is kind of a boring time. These are kind of the dog days of spring training, if you will. Others know they have a window of opportunity that's getting smaller and smaller to impress.
The 1-2. Call, strike 3, and that ends the inning. 3rd strikeout for Capuano. But the Indians come up with a run and 3 hits and leave 2. We'll go to the bottom of the 2nd, and we're all tied at 1. Juan Rivera, James Loney, and Juan Uribe will bat against Derek Lowe, and fans opening day at Dodger Stadium's just around the corner. Barn. The only way to be sure you're there and guarantee your tickets to Koufax and Scully bobblehead nights is with a ticket plan. Head to Dodger Stadium tomorrow between 10 a.m. and 3 in the afternoon for the season ticket open house. With every ticket plan purchase, you'll receive a Dodger gift. For more information, call 323-224-1365 or visit Dodgers.com/open house. Rivera 9 for 37 this spring, 3 home runs and 8 runs batted in, and it's low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. James Loney on deck, Juan Rivera to follow. So as we mentioned in the open, the top 6 hitters for the Dodgers have done their job so far this spring as Rivera begins the second with a single into center field, his 10th hit of the spring. Gordon's getting on base, wreaking havoc, stealing bases. Ellis now with 8 RBIs. Kemp has 9. Ethier 10 RBIs, and Rivera has 8 runs batted in.
And we talked about the window of opportunity shrinking. Well, for Juan Rivera, he is putting his hand high. We talked about the Indians and kind of an open call, help wanted in left field. Well, it comes down to Rivera and maybe Jerry Sands in left. Well, Rivera's had a good spring. Sands has really yet to get untracked, and he's not helped his own cause.
Jerry's really struggled this spring as Loney takes inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Sands is hitting just 167, 5 hits, 30 at-bats. He's working today on a side field. Tony Gwynn are trying to get as many at-bats here today as they can, so they're not involved in this game as Loney fouls it off to the right. James is 7 for 29 with a home run and 5 runs batted in.
There's a lot goes on in spring training besides just this game. Belisario, Guzman, Ledesma, they're throwing in minor league games today. They'll be available because the thought is you want to get some pitchers that go back-to-back days. That's what's going to happen.
We'll see them tomorrow. Rivera is off and running with the pitch, and Loney rattles a double into the right field corner. Now here's Rivera rounding third. There will be no throw. So on a hit and run, Rivera scores. Loney's at second, and the Dodgers lead 2-1.
And James Loney, normally not a pull hitter, but there's something a little bit more electric about the swing of James Loney. A lot more focus, I think, on a solid foundation. With Kochman holding Rivera at first, the hit and run put on by Don Mattingly, and for James Loney responds very nicely.
Loney's 3rd double of the spring, his 6th run batted in, and Juan Uribe steps into the batter's box with a half dozen hits this spring and takes low and inside, 1 ball, no strikes.
This is an interesting position because you have Juan Rivera that leads it off with a single, then the hit and run, and now here's Uribe trying to get untracked.
And he has just flied to right field. Cunningham right there.
And what I was about to say is it's interesting because Uribe is more of a pull hitter, and this was a situation to maybe hit the ball the opposite way, move the runner to third base with nobody out. And so Uribe tried that, and that shows, I think, a better balance. And Dave Hansen has taken over now full-time as the hitting coach. He has really done a wonderful job. And Hanny right there in your screen. Getting guys to buy into the theory. Say, look, guys, we need to all pull part of this plow during the season.
A.J. Ellis takes a strike, 0-1. And so while it goes into the scorebook as a fly ball to right, Uribe was attempting to do the right thing, hit the ball the other way.
Yeah, for Don Mattingly, it shows too. Is it, well, okay, here's kind of a free swinger in Uribe, but maybe not afraid to put a hit and run on with him.
A.J. Ellis, 0-2. Ellis, a home run, 3 RBIs, and 3 doubles this spring. He's also walked a half a dozen times. The one thing about Ellis is that he's going to work out a lot of walks. He's got a high on-base percentage in his time in the major leagues, and really you take a look throughout his professional career, just outside 1 and 2.
The other thing too is he puts the bat on the ball. Now he started this at bat off 0 and 2. Now it's 1 and 2. But he does not strike out that many times either.
A ball, 2 strikes, in and out. Loney leads from second. Ellis takes under the knees, 2 and 2.
I pointed out between the two of us, the Dodgers are running a little short-sighted as far as this game, because the Indians, folks, using the designated hitter. To give you an idea of the wins and losses and scores, how inept it is to even look at that and factor it in. Oh, how's my club doing? So the Indians have an extra hitter using the DH. The Dodgers are not using the DH.
3 balls and 2 strikes. So Ellis, who is down 0-2, has worked the count full.
And that's part of pitch recognition we talked about earlier. That's the main theme song for hitters the early part of spring training. Pitch recognition, fastball, curveball, slider, change. And then where is my boundary, the plate itself.
One hopper to short, and Cabrera will throw out Ellis 2 out.
And that's another good at bat, a positive at bat. Uribe lined out to right. That was a positive bat. And then you look at Ellis, who is behind in the count 0-2. Well, he laid off a couple of pitches because remember the 1-2 pitch. Derek Lowe thought he had it on the outside corner. Well, then Ellis moves it to 3-2 and hit the ball sharply. So even though it's an out, your average is not going to go up. You've accomplished something.
With 2 out, Loney still at second base, and Capuano takes a strike, 0-1.
It's more than just what the numbers will emphasize. It's truly taking a good feeling, having a good at bat, a good approach.
No balls, a strike, and 2 out. A 2-1 Dodger lead here in the second. And Capuano swings and misses, and it's 0-2. Well, the Indians using the DH today because that's what they play with in the American League, and the Dodgers want to play as if this was a regular season game, at least a situation. And so Capuano takes inside 1-2.
Well, Capuano likes to hit. Now, he might not have been thinking that, being quickly down in the count 0-2. Results do not show that he likes to hit.
And neither did that at bat. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left. We'll go to the third. And the Dodgers are leading it 2-1. Cloudy, 81 degrees on this Saturday afternoon. Camelback Ranch in Glendale. And the Dodgers with a 2-1 lead. Chris Capuano will be facing Jason Kipnis, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Matt Laporta as we begin the third inning. Our next television game will come to you Monday against the White Sox here at Camelback Ranch. Chad Billingsley will go against John Danks. Tomorrow, the Dodgers play the Brewers over in Maryvale, and Clayton Kershaw will be pitching. Kipnis a single into center field. Actually, now Kipnis is out of the game, and Jose Lopez is batting. Lopez Takes low. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Manny Acta is already beginning to make some moves.
That's a strange move to make, though, if Kipnis is healthy. And I say that because most players, if they're going to make a trip, want to get 2 or 3 at bats. So you just wonder if Jason Kipnis may have tweaked something, and as a precaution, they're removing him from the game.
On 1 and 2, Lopez takes high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lopez having a good spring, 11 hits in 29 at-bats. That translates into a .379 average. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Lopez came up in the Mariner organization. Played 38 games in Colorado last year and finished up at the minor league level. A career .263 hitter. And for Chris Capuano, that's his 4th strikeout of the game. It's the first out of the 3rd.
Yeah, and Capuano's doing a lot of different ways. Taking a little off, a little dead fish changeup. He's gone with a breaking ball as well. And look at the trajectory of that ball. And again, he hit the outside corner. You know, the other part of it, too, is we look at A.J. Ellis. There's a couple of things that they are working with A.J. Ellis, and we'll get into as we go along. Target is one of them. Position of his left arm is another.
Cabrera takes low, 1 ball, no strikes.
And Steve Yeager, who's been brought back into the Dodgers organization, has worked with A.J. Now, where he's positioned with no one on base is different than someone on base.
Easy play for Ethier.
And here's what I'm talking about. And having dinner with Steve yesterday, he says A.J. Ellis will work as hard as anyone in this camp. But if you watch A.J. in the glove, when he gives the target, Ellis was putting the target up and then dropping it way back down and then coming back up late. Well, they worked on that. It said relax the wrist a little bit. If you look at his left elbow, which is the elbow that he has the glove on that one, it's making sure it's outside of the knees so he has lateral movement.
Laporta with a fly ball to right. Another easy play for Ethier and an easy inning for Chris Capuano. 1, 2, 3. We'll go to the bottom of the 3rd. Dodgers 2 and the Indians 1. With the Dodgers leading 2-1, it'll be the top of the order for the Dodgers in the bottom half of the 3rd. D. Gordon, Mark Ellis, and Matt Kemp against the now 38-year-old right-hander Derek Lowe. Lowe, of course, 4 solid seasons with the Dodgers, 2005 through 2008. He had a record of 54 and 48 with the Dodgers. Made 135 starts and an ERA of 3.59. D-Low, as his teammates call him. D. Gordon steps in, and Gordon started the game on the right foot, quite literally. Call strike, 0-1. As he bunted for a base hit up the third base line. That brings Andy LaRoche in at third. And Kochman even with the bag at first. And a bloop base hit into right center field. Gordon takes a big turn, and now he's on his way to second. And this time he was a little too wanting.
Well, he took the gamble as soon as he hit the ball, went sprinting out of the box. This delivers a message, quite frankly, to everyone else in baseball. Now, the ball not played poorly by Spilborghs. If there's no hesitation, it would have been a closer play, but for D. Gordon, he's going to force a lot of mistakes from outfielders this year and take advantage of it, because if you don't jump right on that ball in a hurry, Gordon's going to be an extra base hit.
Mark Ellis, who drove in Gordon in his first at-bat with an infield out, takes low and outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
There's about 10 scouts sitting below us, and they're all writing down on their tablets right now. So it shows what other clubs will be discussing whenever they play the Dodgers in particular, how you defense with D. Gordon. And there's a shot of the guys that work about as hard as anybody in baseball.
So they're making notes and saying, okay, when our team plays the Dodgers, and even a routine base hit by Gordon, you best get it back into the infield in a hurry.
And that's the same thing that Matt Kemp has realized. Even though he's a power guy now in the hitter, he runs hard and it forces mistakes of infielders.
D. Gordon has a chance to be, obviously with the blinding speed, and if he can get that on base percentage north of 350, a real game changer.
We've already shown that he can bring in the infield with the bunt that he laid down in the very first inning that had the stolen base.
Ellis whacks it foul.
But D. Gordon can be electric. I mean, obviously the leg strength, the way that his muscles fire, uncanny. I mean, he was 11 years old when he could dunk a basketball, and he stood all of 5'7" and a half.
You and I saw something last year. Just
we still don't believe.
Yeah, one of those by the way moments. Ellis takes a call strike 3. That's the third strikeout for Lowe. 2 out and nobody on. There's a large lobby to the main office here at Camelback Ranch, and there is an awning just below the doors to the clubhouse. And the awning is about 12 and a half, 13 feet tall. And Mo and I and a couple of others were in the lobby just having a conference about nothing in particular. As Matt Kemp steps in, takes high and inside, 1 ball, no strikes. And D had to run out to his car to pick something back up and then come back in and through the doors. And oh, by the way, he didn't have any idea that we were watching, and it really just caught our eye. And he just matter-of-factly not only touched the top of the awning. I mean, it was about halfway between his wrist and his elbow. And I turned to him, oh, did you see that? And we both kind of just, it was astonishing, the leg strength and spring that he had.
Well, gravity, when it's normally pulling people back to earth, did not seem to affect D. Gordon. He kept going up and up.
2 balls and a strike to Matt Kemp with 2 out in the third.
And Matt Kemp has that same type of explosion, not just in his legs, but I mean, here's a strong young man that maybe got a sense last year of exactly what he can do. And as far as Matt Kemp is concerned, it's not enough because he comes in even more determined this year.
Slowly hit to third. Tough play for LaRoche, and there will be no play. Good speed for Matt Kemp, and for Kemp his 14th base hit.
Well, even when you don't hit the ball that hard, when the infield is playing back, we talked about D. Gordon, he can bring the infield in. Well, with Matt Kemp, he has the infield playing back. And it's just very difficult to get it because that other dimension that Matt Kemp has is really unbridled speed.
Well, we're talking about speed. We're talking about the scouts. Just got a piece of information from downstairs. The time it took for D. Gordon with that bunt base hit in the first inning, a scout clocked Gordon at 3.79 seconds from home to first.
It's moving.
Ooh.
Now, there is a story that Mickey Mantle, earlier in his career, while he was batting left-handed on a bunt, was at 3.1 something.
Inside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Which is like being shot out of a cannon.
And the other thing about the Gordon bunt, it wasn't a drag bunt. It really was a standing start.
And I've said it before, is that a lot of people, their emphasis is
Ethier with a line drive down the right field line. It'll be a grounds rule double, fan interference. Andre Ethier continues to hit almost everything in sight.
Well, they're gonna make Kemp stop at third base. But you know what? If that ball is not interfered with, there's no way in this world that anyone, Cunningham or anybody else, is going to throw out Kemp. Not with Cunningham that far off the line. What I was saying about with D. Gordon, his speed forces people, in, and for Kemp, his speed back. Or with his power, they'll play back. So there's a trade-off, and once you start to understand what your abilities can do to change the defense, you can dial it in and have that really is another weapon.
Rivera with a fly ball to right center field, drifting on over his spillboard. The pride of Santa Barbara makes the catch to end the inning. Dodgers no runs, 3 hits, 2 left. 2-1 as we head to the 4th. KCAL 9 brought to you by Carl's Jr. $6 burgers, made with 100% black Angus beef, and by the all-new Chevy Cruze Eco, available to order. Chevy runs deep. We'll head to the 4th inning, and the Dodgers 2 runs and 6 hits. The Indians 1 run and 4 base hits. A very solid 3rd inning turned in by Chris Capuano. Retired the Indians in order on just 9 pitches. He's thrown 46 to this point, and he'll throw about 85 or thereabouts this afternoon. So far, so good. Casey Kochman, a double and a run scored in his first at-bat, and the one-time Angel. On the first pitch, easy play for Loney.
Well, we were trying to talk about A.J. Ellis before we were rudely interrupted. That's 3 in a row now, batters that have been offering at the first pitch. But again, there's 3 things with AJ. There's going to be one additional thing with a runner on base, but we've already talked about the target, and he would drop it way down and then come back up. And Steve Yeager said, look, just relax that left wrist a little bit more. Watch the position of this left elbow. It's outside the knee. And as Steve was saying last night, the reason it's outside the knee is you have more lateral movement. And AJ had a tendency to get the elbow back behind the knee.
Down the third baseline, Andy LaRoche, a ball and a strike and an out.
And with the knee getting tied up where the elbow was, he could not go to his right as well or reach across. Now the other thing is, and from this area, although he's going to go to the mound now that he knows we're talking about him, is that you can get your backside down in much more of a crouch with no one on base. But with a runner on base, what they're trying to do is to get him to leave the backside, get it a little bit higher into the air.
Well, this is not a good sign. As Rick Honeycutt and Nancy Patterson, assistant trainer for the Dodgers, coming out to talk to Capuano. A.J. Ellis immediately came out from behind the plate, home plate umpire. Jordan Baylor is out there as well.
For Capuano, he was just demonstrating it was something with his stride where he came down. So it's not with the arm, it would appear. It was more with the leg, but something that Ellis picked up.
I'll take a couple of warm-up tosses and see how he feels. As you mentioned earlier, I think I misspoke. It's Sue Falsoni, who is the head trainer, who came out with Rick Honeycutt. And her assistant is Nancy Patterson. A couple of trailblazers, and they are just great human beings too. And Sue has been around the club for a few years, and Stan Conti elevated upstairs, and it was a natural fit for Sue to take over. And Nancy, in her second year with the Dodgers, is right by Sue Falsoni's side. Andy LaRoche on 3-1, 3-2.
So we've had a look at Ellis, and again you can see the backside is down. Now that there's 2 strikes, he's elevated that. And what Yeager was saying, and talked to AJ about it, and AJ got away from really good habits there for a couple of years. Didn't have on a constant basis of awareness. And Steve says, look, you're only in a somewhat awkward position for about 3 seconds with every pitch that you're going to have, primarily with runners on base.
LaRoche has been struck out. 5 strikeouts for Capuano. That's 2 out in the 4th.
So overall, Capuano's done it with a fastball, the curveball, and you see it here with a breaking ball again. It took something off of it. But one final note on A.J. Ellis, and this is just the catching aspect we're talking about today. But folks, this gives you an idea of how in-depth. It's not just the catching, it's also at first base and the footwork and the shortstop and the double play combination and how you're getting jumps in the outfield. It's how exacting this game can be, and how the people that have been in this game for such a long period of time analyze it and try to improve their players.
And just how, in the case of A.J. Ellis, where he positions his wrist on the glove hand can make all the difference in the world.
Well, it stands to reason. If you're very tense, and for golfers and hitters and everything else, and now for catchers, if your left wrist is tense to begin with, you're not going to be able to receive the ball as well.
3 balls and no strikes to Ryan Spilborghs.
The other thing that Yeager's talked with all the catchers is that take it personally when the ball hits into the dirt. Take it personally from the standpoint you do not want to turn around and have to go to the backstop and pick it up.
A 4-pitch walk given up by Capuano. That's the first walk he surrendered today. He had retired 7 batters in a row until the walk.
Now here we're going to get a chance to see, okay, now does A.J. Ellis elevate the backside a little bit? We saw him before with no one on base and with less than 2 strikes. The tailgate was down more and more of a full crowd. So we'll see if he elevates it. I'm not certain if Yeager's in the dugout today or if he's in one of the games being played in another field right now.
Now Aaron Cunningham, a single to left in his first at-bat, takes a strike. It's 0-1.
Well, he was more elevated right there than he was in that full crouch with no one on a little bit earlier. So the little nuances of catching, and something that folks can be watching as not just spring training progresses, but also during the season.
No balls and a strike to Cunningham. And a ground ball to third. Easy play for Uribe. Goes the short way, and that ends the inning. No runs, no hits, a walk, and a man left. After 3.5, Dodgers 2-1. We head to the home half of the fourth. James Loney, Juan Uribe, and A.J. Ellis will bat against Derek Lowe. The Dodgers with a 2-1 lead. Well, we were kind of curious why Jason Kipnis, the young second baseman, came out after one at-bat. He had singled to center, and Jose Lopez would replace him in the lineup and over at second base. And we were just told it was planned that way. James Loney with a double in his first at-bat takes a strike, 0-1.
That's why it helps to have tenure. Because if you were only going to have one at-bat and you were a veteran player, been around for a while, you would never have boarded the bus.
What was that old
What,
Ricky
do you have a
Henderson?
doctor appointment who's going somewhere?
Here's the 1-1. Low and outside corner.
Yeah.
Strike 1 and 2.
When Ricky joined San Diego, he got on the team bus and they said, Ricky, you said up front. He says, you have tenure. I go, no, Ricky got 14 years.
Slowly hit to short, and Cabrera throws out Loney.
But there was also a story with Ricky Henderson that he received, and this was when he was with the A's, because of performances and the time that he had been. I mean, truly outstanding player. He received a $1 million bonus.
Check.
And it didn't clear, and it didn't clear, and it didn't clear. And they were trying to check their books, and they went to him and said, Ricky, that check? He says, yeah. You cashed it, right? He goes, no, I hung it up. It's on my wall.
He framed it.
I said, Ricky, you have to cash it. Take a photo of it and then cash it.
Uribe takes outside, 2 balls and no strikes. And Ricky was one of those guys, always spoke in the third person. Ricky doesn't like dinner tonight. Why not? I don't know. I'll ask Ricky. Was there a better leadoff hitter in the history of the game?
No.
Juan Uribe, who flied to right in his first at-bat, takes low and outside, is 3 balls and a strike. And Ricky ended up playing on a whole lot of teams. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Uribe this spring is 6 for 27 with a double. And a fly ball to left, but it's going to be caught easily by Matt Laporta. There's 2 out.
So Uribe is 0 for 2 today. He's hit a line drive to right. That was a runner at second base. Nobody out of the second inning. And this time on a 3-2 pitch, lines out to left. So he's 0 for 2. You look in the box score and said, well, he didn't do anything today. Well, he's hit the ball about as hard as anyone in this game thus far and has nothing to show for it.
Ricky Henderson played from 1979 through 2003. Oakland, the Yankees, back to Oakland, Toronto, back to Oakland, San Diego, Angels, back to Oakland, the Mets, Seattle, back to San Diego, the Red Sox, and the last team he played for, the Dodgers. 25 years. And A.J. Ellis into the right field corner. Fair ball. And a Browns ruled double.
Well, we mentioned with A.J. and working a lot of things defensively, and also mentioned Steve Yeager. Well, Yeager is in the dugout, and he just gave A.J. Ellis, well, a round of applause as Yeager leaning over the railing, the Dodgers' third base dugout. And again, he talked about A.J. Ellis as he will work as hard as anyone in this camp, not just on the defensive end, but looking at videotape and hitting.
Chris Capuano takes high and inside, 1 ball, no strike.
And that guy right there could catch. He could flat out catch the ball. One of the better receivers. Of course, the Dodgers had a terrific catching core. That one little stretch with Yeager and also with Socha.
And you're talking about how he tells his catchers to take it personally on balls in the dirt. Watching Yeager watch his young catchers. Yeager takes it personally. Outside, 2 balls and a strike.
Well, Yeager, one thing about it, he'll run through a wall to protect you, and if needed, he'll run through the wall to get you.
On 2-1. Capuano, big hack, 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the bottom half of the 4th. Capuano struck out in his first at-bat and takes inside. Works the count full to 3-2.
Charlie, the good thing about Capuano is that, and they were talking about, well, it'd be somewhere around 80 pitches. Whatever it was bothering him, they went to the mound to check, is not bothering him enough to miss this at-bat and be taken out of the game.
Well, he's been struck out for the 2nd time this afternoon, and for a low, his 4th strikeout of the day. We head to the 5th with the Dodgers leading the Indians 2-1. Dodger Baseball on KCAL 9, brought to you by your Southern California Honda dealers. Charlie Steiner, Rick Monday, coming to you from Camelback Ranch, Glendale, Arizona. Partly cloudy, 81 degrees on this Saturday afternoon. 12 days until opening day. The Dodgers and the Padres at Petco Park. And, of course, the Dodgers open at Dodger Stadium on Tuesday, April the 10th, against the Pittsburgh Pirates. First pitch, Dodger Stadium on the 50th anniversary of ballpark at 10 past 1. Kershaw pitching for the Dodgers tomorrow in Maryvale against the Brewers. He will be the opening day pitcher in San Diego and at Dodger Stadium. Meanwhile, Chris Capuano's turned in another terrific outing. 1 run, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, and a walk. Talking with Don Mattingly before the game today, he was figuring about 80, 85, maybe 90 pitches for Capuano. The way things have been going, he might have a complete game. Lou Marson takes low, 1 ball, no strikes, but more importantly for the Dodgers today, beside Capuano and his terrific outing, they want to get an inning of work out of Jamie Wright and Mike McDougal, Kenley Jansen, Todd Coffey, and John Grabo. At a ball under the knees, 2-0 to Marson, who flied to center in his first at-bat.
Well, it's a constant maintenance program. Ted Lilly, Dodgers left-hander, has a bit of a stiff neck, so he's getting some work on that.
The 2-0 is a fly ball to right field. Drifting back is Ethier. Should be an easy play. 1 out in the 5th.
It's almost an art form on what the pitching coaches figure out with their pitchers. You mentioned Kershaw is going to pitch tomorrow. Then he'll pitch again on the 31st. That'll be a brief kind of a tune-up. And then starting on opening day. But Rick Honeycutt, Kenny Howe is the bullpen coach along with Don Mattingly. They have it really down to a science and a program to try and build up arm strength at the same time that they're in there, work on something.
Jason Donald, who's been struck out twice by Capuano today. 1 ball, no strikes.
So Lilly is on the shelf maybe for a day or so. Guerrero came back and pitched pretty well yesterday, so he'll pitch a game on Monday.
Into center field, Matt Kemp makes a catch. Oh, he dropped it. Oh, what a try by Kemp.
Well, a wonderful jump on a ball on arguably one of the most difficult for a center fielder, and that's that line drive that's hit right at you. Well, Kemp gets a good beat on it. He has it in the glove, but watch, the collision with the ground will shake the ball loose. Just a terrific effort, because as a center fielder, you know if you don't get to the baseball, you don't knock it down, somebody else around you is going to have a long run to get it. That would have been Rivera in left field, but a terrific effort by Matt Kemp. And remember, this is spring training.
Now Jose Lopez came in to replace Jason Kipnis after Kipnis had but 1 at-bat today. As Drupal Cabrera is on deck. Dodgers with a 2-1 lead, and Capuano continues to pitch very well for the Dodgers as Lopez fouls it off the end of the bat.
Capuano took something off of that one, and Lopez was out in front. That was an 8-ball in the side pocket, cued it right off the end of the bat. So it shows that the hitter's not able to really distinguish much of a difference in the velocity of the ball until they've already made a commitment to try and hit it.
Lopez came up in the Mariner organization. And the 0-1. Base hit into left. First and second with 1 out. And it brings up as Drupal Cabrera.
Designated hitter, Asdrubal Cabrera.
Cabrera, who never in his career did double digits in home runs at any level, burst out with 25 last year. He got a tip from Orlando Cabrera, no relation. Said, you get 4 at-bats a game, maybe 5. And Orlando said, you've got a good swing, you've got some power. One of those at-bats where you go hack it. And as Drupal followed his suggestion. 2 balls, no strikes.
It worked out. He had 7 more home runs last year than he had combined in his first 4 major league seasons. So it's without any doubt that he wound up the American League Silver Slugger Award winner at the shortstop position.
2 balls, no strikes. And now Capuano falls behind 3-0.
Yeah, Capuano's not as sharp as he was earlier on, and that was kind of a cat and mouse because Capuano 2-0, knowing that Cabrera may want to have one of those at bats you talked about. Out in front, 2-0, took something off, but Cabrera stayed off of it as it was missing outside.
3 balls, no strikes. And swinging away, fouls it off to the right. This may be the end of the line for Chris Capuano. The Dodgers have bullpen activity. And a big cup of coffee out there. Todd Coffey warming up. Matt Laporta is on deck. 2 on, 1 out. Top of the 5th. Just inside. So now the bases are loaded.
Well, Mattingly was talking about Coffey the other day when we finally saw him come in relief, and Mattingly says he was a little anxious because Coffey, folks, if you don't realize it, he sprints in from the bullpen position towards the mound, and Mattingly was laughing. He says, I didn't know if the parachute was going to deploy when he reached the infield. And it's a sizable parachute.
At one point, Todd Coffey didn't just tip the scales, he knocked them over. About 300 pounds. At 240 now, but a very solid middle reliever. So here's Matt Laporta, of which much was expected when the Indians got him. Ball outside, 1 ball, no strikes.
Laporta more of a fastball hitter than a breaking ball hitter.
Remember when the Indians traded CC Sabathia to the Brewers? Well, Laporta and Michael Brantley were among 2 of the 4 players that Cleveland got in return. And Laporta was a highly thought of prospect, but he's been just a .238 hitter at the major league level so far in his career. A fly ball to center field. Back goes Matt Kemp. And at the wall, he'll track it down, and that will end the inning. Nope, that'll be the second out of the inning. Tagging and scoring is Jason Donald. Going from second to third is Lopez. There's 2 out.
And that required a good throw coming in from Matt Kemp because tagging at second was Lopez. And if Kemp does not turn and fire and hit D. Gordon, the cutoff man, and make a good throw, Lopez may have been waved around by Steve Smith, the third base coach, because that was a long throw coming back to the infield.
And Matt's first step was coming in. So with the sacrifice fly off the bat of Laporta, that's the second run of the game for the Indians, and it's tied at 2. Casey Kochman with runners at the corners takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Third base coach for the Indians, Steve Smith, went to Pepperdine, and
he's in the Pepperdine Hall of Fame.
For the shortstop, Gordon. He'll jog to the bag, and that'll end the inning. But the Indians come up with a run, 2 hits, and leave 2 at the halfway mark after 4.5. We're knotted at 2. before D. Gordon leads off in the bottom of the fifth. Dodger fans, are you a member of Clipper Nation? Always wanted to be a Jedi. Love the Bruins or Trojans? Well, you're in luck. Dodgers have just the perfect ticket package for you. To find the packages that fit you best, visit Dodgers.com/ticket packs. Well, here's D. Gordon. Gordon, a bunt base hit and a stolen base in his first at-bat. Single to center and tried to stretch it into a double. Was thrown out in his second at-bat. Either way, he's 2 for 2 today. And 17 for 40. And Kochman makes the play. Even routine plays become exciting.
Well, there's no routine plays when you're trying to put out lightning, and that's what D. Gordon is once he starts to run the bases.
1 out, nobody on. Mark Ellis 0 for 2 today. Ellis bounced out with Gordon at third base in the first inning, knocking in his 8th run of the spring. Took a called third strike in his second at-bat against Derek Lowe. Derek, the former Dodger, 4 seasons with the Dodgers. And a fly ball to center field. Drifting on back is Spilborghs.
Read something from Derek Lowe also, Charlie. We saw him in Los Angeles. We mentioned he's coming off a dismal season last year. 17 losses, an ERA just over 5. He said he fell into a trap last year. And we touched upon earlier, both he and Capuano like to work very rapidly on the mound. For Derek Lowe, he says, I worked too fast last year. He says too fast from a standpoint is that my throws and my pitches were ahead of a thought process.
Derek now 38 and was in Atlanta last year. And a ball outside and 1 ball, no strikes. The Braves had a long season last year, and there is fear down in Dixie they're going to have another long one this year. Kemp with a fly ball to right, and drifting on back is Aaron Cunningham. And a 1-2-3 inning for Lowe. Dodgers go quietly into the 5th. It's 2-2 as we head to the 6th. On your mark, get set, go.
Stand by to deploy, shoot.
Coffee on his way into work. Todd 6'4" and listed at 280 in his 7th season. Had a terrific year with the Nationals last year, 69 appearances. with an ERA of 3 2/3. Going to be called upon often this season for the Dodgers in middle relief. And he is taking the place of Chris Capuano, who went 5 innings today, 2 runs, 6 hits, struck out 5, walked 2, 70 pitches, 56 strikes. And how would you assess Capuano's appearance today?
I thought it was very good. It looked like he tired a little bit over the last inning or so. A couple of pitches were up in the strike zone. Finally walked a batter, something he did not do. But overall, terrific outing for Capuano, who knows how to pitch, no question about that. The biggest thing for Capuano, he shows that his arm is healthy.
Andy LaRoche, the one-time Dodger prospect, 1 for 2, leads off in the 6th. And here comes Todd Coffey's first pitch of the afternoon. High and inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Coffey gave up 3 runs and 4 hits in an inning of work on Wednesday against the Padres. He's allowed runs in each of his last 2 appearances, striking out 3, hasn't walked anybody. Outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Spilborghs and Cunningham to follow in this 2-2 game in the 6th inning. 12 days from opening day, Dodgers and Padres in San Diego. And a week from tomorrow, the Dodgers break camp. In the 3-game freeway series with the Angels a week from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now the 3-0. Strike 3-1. Monday, April the 2nd, Dodgers and Angels will play down in Anaheim. Tuesday night at Dodger Stadium. Wednesday afternoon, the 4th, Dodgers and Angels at Dodger Stadium, and then a bus ride to San Diego, and the journey begins. The 3-1. So LaRoche will lead off walk in the 6th off Todd Coffey.
You know, you figure also, Charlie, and something they just had a thought of as far as Coffey is concerned. Dodger Stadium is not known as a home run ballpark. Todd Coffey is not known as a home run type pitcher. In fact, in over, well, exactly 419 career innings, he has given up just 48 home runs. And the night air in Los Angeles, you figure, well, here's a guy that comes sprinting in, and you have some guys say, you better hit it a long way or it's an out.
Ryan Spilborghs, 0 for 1 and a walk, and a chopper to short. Gordon, Ellis, Loney, got him!
Well, LaRoche shaken up at second base, and a terrific pick maneuver also in the middle with Ellis, and you just wonder if LaRoche maybe made contact with Ellis, a knee or something. But watch the middle. I mean, it's so important. D. Gordon gives Ellis a good throw to work with, but once the transfer gets rid of the ball, and yep, it was LaRoche who made contact with one of the knees of Ellis. Terrific double play.
Right fielder, Aaron Cunningham.
The knee always beats the nose. 2 out, nobody on. Aaron Cunningham steps in. Well, one of the reasons the Dodgers went out and got Mark Ellis, he's always been a very dependable second baseman, has great instincts there. Terrific lateral movement, and he was certainly able to turn that double play.
Well, that's teamwork, because he knew that his shortstop was not going to leave him high and dry, and you can make the argument if that's not a good feed from D. Gordon, not only is it not double play, Ellis may have been in left field.
And a strike. Aaron Cunningham, 1 ball, 1 strike.
You're going to be pretty gutsy. When you're at second base, you can hear the runner coming at you. That ball bounced an extra time, so you know the runner's getting closer and closer and closer. And yet Ellis stayed in there and held his ground, and it turned it over very nicely. Big double play.
Like the catcher at the plate, the second baseman is essentially defenseless on plays like that. Runners are encouraged to take the second baseman in cleanly. take them out and avoid the double play at all costs. The 2-1. Strike 2 and 2. Ellis in his 12th big league season, all of them in Oakland except a half a year last year in Colorado. And last year was a year for him to write off. Had an inner ear infection, had a hamstring. Here's the 2-2. And Coffey has struck out Cunningham, and that ends the inning. No runs, no hits, a walk, nobody left. After 5.5, the Dodgers and Indians are tied at 2. Dodger Baseball on KCAL 9, brought to you by your Southern California Lexus dealer, who invites you to test drive a luxurious Lexus today. Visit Lexus.com. And by Sports Authority, the official sporting goods retailer of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Some changes for the Indians. New shortstop, Gregorio Petit. New third baseman, who they figure will be the third baseman of their future, not necessarily this year, Lonnie Chisenhall. And the now much-traveled Felix P.A. is in left field for the Indians, although Derek Lowe continues to stand tall on the hill in the bottom of the sixth. Andre Ethier, no balls and a strike, and now it's 1-1. Ethier with a double to right in 2 at-bats today. He's also lined to third. Ethier's having just a terrific spring. 2-1. Rivera and Loney to follow. A solid 5 innings for Capuano today. Ethier swings and misses, 2-2. Todd Coffey, 1 inning of work, a strikeout, a walk, and a double play. Kershaw pitches tomorrow for the Dodgers against the Brewers in Maryvale. Into left center field. P.A. taking charge. Run out.
Well, the Ethier, we talked earlier about the fact he's answered the question. His knee is healthy after having a cleanup procedure before the end of last year. Put him on the shelf for the rest of the season. But I think that Don Mattingly got the point across. And again, we go back to what's Mattingly's lineup going to be with left-handed pitchers. And for the last 5 years, Ethier's hit lower against lefties. So what's Mattingly going to do with the lineup? So I'm not afraid to maybe move Juan Rivera, who's in there today against the right-handers, to the number 4 spot and drop Ethier down a little bit more against lefties.
No balls, 2 strikes to Rivera, who's got a double, I beg your pardon, a single and a run scored in 2 at-bats.
And with players in that window of opportunity that is beginning to get smaller and smaller, Jerry Sands is really on the outside looking in, because Sands' strong suit last year was the fact he hit over 350 against lefties, but he has not hit at all. And Juan Rivera has played very nicely.
And on 0-2, Rivera gets hit by a pitch. Yeah, Sands has struggled this spring, hitting just 167. Again, battling for those few potential spots. Now there's going to be a pinch runner for Rivera.
And Matt Engel.
He is a speedster, Engel. He's already stolen 2 bases. Loney with the runner going, fouls it off.
Loney had the hit and run after Rivera had a single in the second inning. And Rivera scored all the way from first on a double down the right field line and Mattingly came back with a hit and run here with a runner at first.
Well, Engel may be the second fastest runner on this Dodger team behind Gordon. He's got Matt Kemp-like speed. Dodgers picked him up off the waiver wire at the end of February. The ball outside.
Well, Engel helps himself. That was a very generous lead that he has at first base. Whenever you have that that runner and their right foot is just about where that cutout on the grass is. And look how liberal his lead is. That's a big one.
There he goes. And again, a hit and run.
We talked about the foot at the cutout. Well, Engel had his right foot past the cutout. So it tells you a couple things. One, he reads pitchers well, and the other one, his reaction time is exceptional.
If Loney doesn't foul that off, Engel likely had that base stolen. The 1-2. Loney drills it foul. And with Sands having difficulty this spring, that perhaps opens the door for Justin Sellers to make the roster. Josh Fields has had a very good spring for the Dodgers, and he might find his way to Dodger Stadium come the opening of the season. So you're talking about the windows of opportunity. There aren't very many windows. But with Sands struggling, that opens the door for others, or at least windows. A 4-6-3 double play ends the 6th inning quietly for the Dodgers. We will head to the 7th. Indians and Dodgers are tied at 2. Well, Todd, Coffey's day is done. Mike McDougal's day has begun. Join the Dodgers for what is sure to be an eventful 2012 season with the largest promotional schedule ever and the lowest ticket prices in years. To guarantee your tickets to opening day and Koufax and Scully bobblehead nights. Purchase season tickets or select mini plans today. For more information, visit Dodgers.com/tickets. Coffey goes an inning. No runs, no hits, a walk, and a strikeout. And the Dodgers have made other changes above and beyond Mike McDougal, who last pitched on Wednesday, a shutout inning against the Padres. He has had 5 appearances this spring. 4 of the 5 have been scoreless. Well, the Dodgers have cleared the deck. In the outfield, Corey Sullivan is now in left field. Matt Engel is in center, and Trent Olchen is in right. And Lou Marson leads off and takes a ball low from McDougal, 1-0.
McDougal is bread and butter. Get the ball down with great movement.
Had a very solid season with the Dodgers last year.
He's one of those pitchers that I think if you try to diagram, we talk about picking up the release point as a hitter, see where the pitcher releases the ball. Well, McDougal has one of those that it's rather strange to figure out. And that ball looks like it's just diving for the ground all the time.
2 balls and a strike.
For McDougal, his father Tom pitched for the Kansas City A's farm system. 3 years, never made it past A ball.
Missing outside. 3 balls and a strike to Marson, then Jason Donald and Jose Lopez. Actually, there's going to be a change on deck. Gregorio Petit will bat. And a ground ball to second base. Adam Kennedy to Brian Cavazos Galvez. And that's the first out of the 7th.
Well, how do you equate pitchers? And we mentioned before that McDougal gets that good sinker. So when he's throwing ground balls, you know that he's really working well. The other thing about McDougal, he throws at times what can be best labeled as kind of a devastating slider.
McDougal had to fight for a roster spot last spring. And a breaking ball, the likes of which we haven't seen from McDougal before.
You know, he began working on a forkball about 10 years ago. It did not work out, and he very wisely put it back on the shelf.
2 balls, no strikes. McDougal 6'4", 180 pounds. Turned 35 a couple of weeks ago and had a 2.05 ERA with the Dodgers last year. Missing way outside. 3 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, well, his delivery is still somewhat, well, it looks a little awkward, disjointed, if you will. And a year ago here, it was actually Rick Honeycutt, the Dodger pitching coach, that suggested something to McDougal that did really help him in his delivery.
Strike to Gregorio Petit. His first at bat of the day, 3-1.
And we talked about A.J. Ellis and the catching, little nuances in the catching that Steve Yeager's working on. Well, what Honeycutt would suggest was a better weight transfer.
Missing high and inside.
Which sounds a little odd. What do you mean a better weight transfer? Pitching and going to the mound with a weight transfer was to get the weight and momentum going towards home plate. And at the time when McDougal came over, they felt that his momentum was really somewhere between home plate and first base. So he was fighting himself, and it diminished his effectiveness, and it diminished, I think, also his velocity.
Jose Lopez is the hitter. And Shelley Duncan is in the on-deck circle. Duncan, one of those trying to win the starting left fielder's job in Cleveland. And his father, of course, a old friend of yours, Dave Duncan.
Former teammate, and we both stood side by side with our feet in those yellow footprints at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego.
Lopez stepping out of the batter's box, looking down at third base coach Steve Smith. Smith, Southern California fella, played collegiately at Pepperdine. New first baseman for the Dodgers without the name on the back is Brian Cavazos Galvez. Loney's day is done. Most of the starters now, with the exception of Uribe and Ellis, are finished for the day. Adam Kennedy, the new second baseman. Luis Cruz, the shortstop. Juan Uribe at third. Corey Sullivan in left. Matt Engel in center. Trent Olchen in right. And McDougal is the third Dodger pitcher of the day. The 1-1. But first, McDougal steps off the rubber. Low and outside, 2 balls and a strike to Jose Lopez.
Talked earlier about A.J. Ellis and the fact that his hand position and his elbow position was not allowing him to backhand the ball, go out away from him. Well, Steve Yeager's got to be happy with that, because that ball was low and away, and Ellis got him. He's nodding in agreement something. Now, I don't know if that's with Mattingly calling some pitches or if he heard Yeager at a boy.
There goes the runner. A chopper to third foul.
And again, with Ellis, especially with a runner at base, on base, the elbow's outside of his knees, so he's not tied up. See the conversation going right there? Steve was also talking about last night about the fact of helping these guys understand how to go through the game and make it easier for the guy behind him, that being the umpire.
On 2-2. Down the left field line, foul.
And I asked Steve, I said, what do you mean by making it easier? He goes, by being quiet. He says, not verbally quiet, although you want to make sure you choose your words the right way, unless you want an early exit. But a quiet body. Receive the ball so the umpire is not fighting around you or above you and trying to find the strike zone. Because that umpire is going to commit, and he will commit to the inside shoulder of the catcher, but not until the catcher sets up.
Home plate umpire Jordan Baylor, a rookie umpire. Gives the umpire a clean look at the pitch.
He says, keep your body quiet. In other words, not jumping around all over the place.
On 2-2 to Jose Lopez. Fair ball headed toward the corner. Petit will be held at third. Arriving at second is Lopez. A grounds rule double. Second and third, one out, and Shelley Duncan coming up.
Well, a breaking ball that was out over the plate a little bit too much. And interference called. The ball is dead. Umpires ruled that the runner would not have been able to go to home.
You almost never see an umpire say, come on down.
Well, it's a tough call for an umpire because they're watching the ball. Someone else has to watch in that group exactly where the runner was.
Now Shelley Duncan takes a strike, 0-1.
Well, Manny Acta, the manager of the Indians, already said Shelley Duncan has a spot on this roster. He's never really played full time. Last year, 85 games. Year before, just 76 at the major league level. But again, with left field a problem. He's one of 8 players in camp that could find themselves in left field at one time or another this year.
Duncan is 32.
And Duncan believes he can play left field. Manny Acta is saying, well, we'll see. But again, Manny, he didn't make any bones about it. Because with injuries, he says, Manny Acta says, if you can hit, we have a place for you. But there's 8 guys now that are trying to earn that place. And how do they do it? They have to hit.
Came up through the Yankee organization as McDougal misses outside. Turned pro in 2001. It took him 6 years to get 74 at-bats with the Yankees in 2007. Basically, he shuttled back and forth between the bigs and the minor leagues, and a pop-up foul off to the left and out of play.
Well, he's a big swing. It's kind of a feast or famine swing, and just watching how they're working to him right here so far in this at-bat, trying to jam him with Ellis sitting inside, running his hands as he popped that one up.
He shares something with you, Mo. Looking here. His favorite musical artist is Motley Crue.
I'll have to talk to his dad.
1-2 is a ground ball off the glove of Uribe into left field. Petit will come in to score. The Indians will take a 3-2 lead. Lopez at third, and Duncan is at first.
Breaking ball, and the second one in this inning. One to Lopez that was out over the plate, and this was a breaking ball that just kind of hung in the air a little bit too long. So Duncan trying to put his name under that help wanted sign in left field for the Indians.
Now Felix P.A. When he came up through the Cub organization, they thought he was going to be the next great thing. Well, it hasn't turned out that way yet. He's bounced around more than anything else. PA is now 27. Cubs to the Orioles, back and forth between the major leagues and the minor leagues last year. And in left field, Sullivan tracks it down. Lopez comes in to score on the sacrifice fly. Second run for the Indians in the 7th. They now lead it 4-2.
First baseman, Casey Kochman.
So the 1-out walk haunts McDougal and the Dodgers. And Casey Kochman steps into the batter's box. Kochman a double and a run scored. He's also grounded out twice, and he pops it foul off to the left, and it's 0-1. Kershaw pitches tomorrow for the Dodgers against the Brewers. Our next television game on Monday. Billingsley and John Danks here at Camelback Ranch. Dodgers and the White Sox. Monday begins the final week of spring training here in Arizona. And a week from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, the 3-game freeway series with the Angels. 1 in Anaheim, 2 at Dodger Stadium, and then 12 days from now, the Dodgers and the Padres in San Diego at Petco. The Indians will open their season on Thursday the 5th as well at their home ballpark, Progressive Field, against the Toronto Blue Jays. Now the 2-1. High and outside, 3-1. This has not been one of McDougal's better performances this spring.
No, 2 breaking balls again. They were hanging up in the strike zone. And we said when he first came in, his bread and butter is to get ground balls. Well, that has not really been the case here in this inning.
Kochman bounces foul. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. The big Shelly Duncan will be off and running with the full count, 2-out pitch upcoming. There he goes, way outside, ball 4. Second walk given up by McDougal. And Don Mattingly has seen about enough. So McDougal struggles here in the 7th inning. John Graybo's coming in, and we're going to take a break. When we come back, Graybo will pitch. It's a 4-2 Indian lead with 2 out in the top half of the 7th. Left-hander John Graybo now on in relief for the Dodgers. It was a tough outing for Mike McDougal, 2/3 of an inning and 29 pitches. Lonnie Chisenhall is the hitter, no balls and a strike. The Indians very high on this kid, and Graybo trying to make the big league roster, and he has to be told within the next week or so as to whether or not he'll have a chance or not, and he can go off and seek his fortune elsewhere. But
perfect spot right here. The Mattingly brings him in against the left-handed hitting Chisenhall, which again they figure he's going to be. They're going to be having him as their full-time third baseman soon.
And a bouncer up the middle. Kennedy cuts it off, force out, and that's that. So Graybo comes in and has another terrific outing for the Dodgers. One batter gets the out. 7th inning stretch, 4-2. three-way series right around the corner, beginning on a week from this Monday. The Dodgers down in Anaheim, and then the Angels travel north. And that's our television schedule. And then a week from this coming Thursday, the 5th of April, the Dodgers and the Padres in San Diego, and then it begins. Derek Lowe's day is done. He's now been replaced by Rick Vandenhert. 6'5" and 217 pounds. Dodgers have seen him before. He's pitched a bit with the Marlins. And spent the last couple of years in the Oriole organization, up and down.
Yeah, the Marlins signed him as a free agent out of the Netherlands.
Juan Uribe begins the 7th inning and takes outside and high. 1 ball, no strikes.
You know, we talk about this game being international, which it is without question. Vanderhert's father was a baseball player in the Netherlands and has a baseball academy.
2 balls, no strikes. A.J. Ellis on deck, and Uribe fouls it off to the right, 2-1. Uribe today has flied to right and lined to left. But while it says 0 for 2 in the box score, his at-bats were good ones today. Here's the 2-1. Slicing toward the right field corner. Uribe has got himself a double as it bounces over the wall. So 3 good at-bats today.
Well, and 3 balls that have been hit very hard. This is the second one to right field. He's also lined out to left.
Well, in his first at-bat in the 2nd inning, Loney, who had doubled in Juan Rivera, was at second base, and Uribe tried to go the other way. He did fly to right. And it was such a productive at-bat. Now there's going to be a pinch runner for Uribe. Josh Fields. I was going to say, when Uribe came back to the dugout after flying to right, he received a lot of congratulations from his mates. They were seeing what he was trying to do. And then in the second at-bat, he scorched a liner to left. And now A.J. Ellis, likely his last at-bat of the day, takes a strike. It's 0-1. Derek Lowe against his old mates today, went 6 innings, 2 runs and 7 hits, struck out 4, didn't walk anybody. It was a Derek Lowe kind of performance. 83 pitches, 54 for strikes. Blocked nicely by Lou Marson behind the plate. The Indians lead at 4-2. They scored 2 in the top half of the 7th off Mike McDougal, who struggled. Ball and a strike to A.J. Ellis.
And Ellis trying to hit the ball if he can the other way. But this is the time really to make contact. Infield's playing fairly well straight away. The outfield in center. Spilborn is playing a little bit over towards right center. So big gap, biggest gap in left center right now.
1-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. A lot of other baseball news today, and from a health point of view, not much of it very good. Ellis, fooled on the pitch, has been struck out. The Cincinnati Reds went all in the offseason on Ryan Matson to be their closer. So what happens? Blows out the elbow, done for the year. Tommy John surgery awaits. How about Jabba Chamberlain? They don't know if he's going to be back this year or ever. Adam Kennedy, his first at-bat of the day.
And with Chamberlain, for those that missed it, severe ankle injury, broken ankle, and was he or was he not on a trampoline?
According to a story in the New York Daily News, broke the ankle playing with his son. Apparently it was a trampoline injury. The bone went through the skin, all of that. He lost so much blood for a moment, according to the New York Daily News. It was a life-threatening situation. And Brian Cashman this morning, when asked about it, he said, "We're just sending our prayers to Jabba Chamberlain." So they don't know when or if he comes back. Two balls and a strike to Adam Kennedy. Takes inside 3-1. We're talking about Chipper Jones. Announces his retirement. Now he's going to have his knee scoped. Kennedy on 3-1. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Apparently the day he announced at his press conference that he was going to retire, about an hour or so before the press conference is when he actually hurt the knee.
And he had been kind of joking around a few days before that, said, am I going to come back after this year? He goes, I don't know if I'll get through this year.
And you and I were talking off the air that day. Kennedy on 3-2, fouls it back. I remember certainly in the years that I covered the fight game, when a fighter was talking about, this is going to be my last fight. 9 times out of 10, he just got whooped because he was focusing on.
He'd already retired.
Yeah.
Mentally.
And when a player is talking about, oh, this is going to be my last year, this is going to be my victory lap or whatever it may be, here comes the 3-2. Kennedy has been struck out, foul tipped it into the glove of Marson. There's 2 out. I mean, if you're thinking about it, yeah, it's one of those things. Think about it, don't say it. And so now the Braves, who struggled through last year, have Chipper on the shelf to begin the year. Now Trent Olchen, his first at-bat of the day. And the Aussie takes outside and low, 1 ball, no strikes. Olchen is 9 for 30.
Yeah, the Nationals also, their closer Storen may open the season on the disabled list with an elbow problem. Is what we saw on the on a story that moved across today.
Drew Storen.
So whenever you hear so many times, well, we have depth. The Dodgers, remember, had all kinds of depth last year coming out of spring training. And that depth that they were going to have in the backup role had to go to the primary role because of injuries, for the most part, in the infield.
So their bench strength, they became starters, and then there was very little bench strength. Here's the 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. You remember this time a year ago, Dodgers figured to break camp with Casey Blake at third, Rafael Furcal at short, Uribe at second, and Loney at first. Well, best laid plans of mice and men.
The Nationals, besides Drew Storen with the elbow, Michael Morris, their left fielder, a lat strain, and Rick Ankiel has missed most of the last 2 weeks.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Trent Olchen.
So you wonder why there's so many players that we see in and out of games in spring training. Well, you have to set the organization. AAA, AA, A ball, but what's the emergency situation going to be?
Well, again, knock wood to this point for the Dodgers. It has been a very efficient, injury-free camp. Here's the 2-2. Just as I say that, Olsen takes one on the elbow. And Manny Acta is going to come out and make a pitching change. So Rick Vandenhert, his day is done. Frank Herman will be the new pitcher when we come back with 2 out in the bottom half of the 7th inning. It's the Indians 4 and the Dodgers 2. Cal 9 brought to you by Carl's Jr. $6 burgers made with 100% Black Angus beef. Beautiful Saturday afternoon in Glendale, Arizona. Oh, it's about a 15-20 minute drive to downtown Phoenix from here. And the new pitcher for the Indians is Frank Herman. No dummy he. Played at Harvard. Grew up in New Jersey, and as we pointed out, no dummy he moved from New Jersey to Manhattan Beach.
Yep, with that economics degree, he was also the 3rd string quarterback at Harvard.
And we had an economics major start for the Dodgers this afternoon. Chris Capuano went to Duke. Luis Cruz fouls it off to the right, 0-1. Cruz is quietly making his presence felt this spring. Has 6 hits in 19 at-bats. Foul back and out of play, 0-2.
Well, what works also for Cruz is versatility in and around the infield.
He seems like a bigger, more powerful version of Oscar Robles. You play him pretty much anywhere in the infield and high. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, you were digging rather deep into that bucket that came out with Oscar's name. I didn't think we would get to that point in the broadcast and talk about Oscar, but he did have the versatility.
Right. It was just a fly ball into left field, and PA can't get it. 1 run is in, and 2 runs are in, and Cruz is on his way to 3rd with a triple. And the Dodgers have tied the score at 4. Fields and Olsen score easily, and Luis Cruz delivers again.
So you mentioned Oscar Robles, and watch the ball by Cruz. He goes down. Now, PA went all in, but he took the wrong angle on the ball. He had no chance at all, and only with the center fielder coming over. And then the Indians did not really work the relay play to perfection coming back in, but a big base hit.
And now Corey Sullivan breaks his back, loops a base hit into center field. In to score is Cruz. And the Dodgers, with 3 in the bottom of the 7th, take a 5-4 lead.
Well, for Cruz, he blasted the baseball. For Sullivan, he got the bat blasted, but to perfection. He wound up with only the handle in his hands, but an RBI to go with it.
So on this occasion, it was a blast at a bloop.
And Sullivan's hands may still be ringing as we speak.
And this is Brian Cavazos Galvez, his first at bat. And a fly ball to center field. This will be an easy play. Still Borgs, and that's that. But the Dodgers come up with a 3, and we'll go to the 8th. It's 5-4 Los Angeles. Follow the Dodgers with MLB.com at Bat 12 for your iPhone, iPad, or Android devices. Get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text at Bat 31826 or visit Dodgers.com for details. Kenley Jansen now on in relief for the Dodgers on this very comfortable Saturday afternoon. We've had overcast skies. The temperature is 81. And Kenley Jansen becomes the 5th Dodger pitcher of the afternoon. John Grabo pitched a 3rd of an inning, threw 3 pitches to retire the only batter he would face. Ryan Spilborghs leads off for the Tribe in the 8th and takes a ball under the knees. 1 ball, no strikes. Kenley Jansen, the strikeout throwing machine, pitched a shutout inning on Wednesday against the Padres. 2 balls, no strikes. Jansen just had a breathtaking season last year. Three balls and no strikes.
Well, he made that transition from the catching position to the mound, and they turned him over, I think, to the perfect guy to work with him at the low minor league level. Former knuckleballer with the Dodgers and other clubs, Charlie Huff, who worked really with his demeanor as well.
3-1 to Spilborghs, who's 0 for 2 in a walk.
But a year ago, Kenley Jansen, by one of the periodicals, was listed as the 8th best prospect in the Dodgers organization.
Here's a 3-1. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, he moved up the ladder very rapidly, didn't he?
Last year, he held opposing hitters to a 159 average. And he averaged more than 16 strikeouts per 9 innings. Well, that's his bread and butter. 1 out, nobody on.
They remember the Kenley Jansen as a catcher when they finally said, hey, look, how about the pitching end of it? Let's use that arm. There's that cut fastball he worked with last year so well. Kenley was not that, well, enthusiastic about becoming a pitcher. But when you wind up in 224 games at the rookie ball level and low class A with a 224 average, a position change, maybe not that bad.
That'll alter your attitude.
Put it this way, you're more susceptible to take a hint or a suggestion.
Last year, Kenley 53 2/3 innings. And he struck out 96. Quickly ahead, 0-2 on Aaron Cunningham. Cunningham, the former Padre, 1 for 3. Dodgers lead 5-4 with 1 out in the 8th. New catcher for the Dodgers, by the way, Tim Fedorovich. A.J. Ellis finished the day 1 for 3. FedEx, they call him. Likely to start at AAA this year with Matt Trainer serving as the understudy to A.J. Ellis. Here's the 1-2. Lou Marson is on deck. Jansen just has a natural cutter. I don't think you throw the ball straight without movement on it. And a fly ball to right field should be an easy play for Olchen. And it is.
You and I talk a lot with Kenny Howell, former Dodger pitcher, now their bullpen coach. Along with Rick Honeycutt, do just a wonderful job, particularly with the younger players. But Kenny Howell just kind of reaching Kenley Jansen and some other guys. So look, he says at the lower level is when he played high school ball, for example, where you stand out, and normally the reaction of the major leaguers, yes. And then Kenny Howell followed up and said, well, when the other team arrived to play you, did they come in a yellow bus?
Lou Marson takes inside, 1 ball, no strikes.
And the answer is normally yes. And then Kenny Howell says, well, there are no yellow buses pulling up to the major league level.
Well, Jansen struggled in his first go-around with the Dodgers last year. He was sent out, as it turned out, for just a brief period of time. And ironically, he would be recalled when Jonathan Broxton went down with an injury.
And I remember very clearly when he was sent down, he was not really happy about it, which was good, because he wanted to drive himself, and he went to Kenny Howell, and Kenny Howell told him, look, we've given you all the information. Now you figure it out. Well, there was still guidance in there. They were still watching him, but it was time for Kenley to figure it out.
3 balls and no strikes to Lou Marson with 2 out in the top of the 8th.
And I am reminded of a conversation that you and I had with General Manager Ned Coletti 4 years ago, right here. And he says you have to allow a younger player the opportunity at least to fail.
A 4-pitch walk to Marson with 2 out in the 8th, and the Dodgers leading 5-4.
And that sounds harsh. Allow them the opportunity to fail. But no, you're giving them the chance to at least attempt.
Well, this is a game, and you know better than anybody, this is a game that's based on failure. You always hear the cliches: if you make out 7 times out of 10, you're hitting 300, and you're a borderline Hall of Fame. And how you deal with the 7 times you don't get on base, or the times that, as a pitcher, you get knocked around. There goes the runner with 2 out. Fedorovic's throw in time. What a throw! So Marson gunned down.
And they've been working with the footwork of Fedorovic, and it pays off.
We go to the bottom of the 8th. Dodgers lead 5-4. What a throw by Fedorovic. Well, with this game running out of energy, the Indians now have a new batter. Tony Sipp is the new pitcher, and Matt Pagnozzi is the new catcher as we go to the bottom of the 8th. And the Dodgers are leading the Indians 5-4. Matt Engel will lead it off for the Dodgers in the bottom half of the 8th. Kenley Jansen, 1 inning, 15 pitches, 7 for strikes. Struck out a batter and walked 1. Tony Sipp, the hard-throwing left-hander out of Mississippi, Pascagoula.
Out of Clemson, where he was both a pitcher and an outfielder.
Engel, this is going to be a very tough play. We told you about Matt Engel. His biggest weapon is his foot speed, and he is aboard to lead off the bottom of the 8th.
Well, we saw the game led off in the bottom of the 1st inning by a bunt to 3rd, that by the leadoff man, D. Gordon. And this time, Engel takes it with him a little bit more. 2 different styles, and this time you make sure that the ball comes all the way to you, but he hit in that Bermuda Triangle. Pitcher went after it, then the first baseman saw he had no chance, and the second baseman had really no chance to scoop it up and throw.
Even had Lopez made the play cleanly, they weren't going to get Engel, who has a large lead already. Ball outside and low. 1 ball, no strikes. In 69 appearances last year, Tim Fedorovic batting for the first time today. Sipp, who's 6 feet and 190 pounds, had a solid 3.03 ERA, and opposing hitters hit just 2.01 against him. Fedorovic, 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, Sipp gets a lot of swings and misses. He has a very electric arm, good movement, late movement on his pitches.
Josh Fields is on deck. Fedorovich is 4 for 17 this spring. That translates into a .235 average. Dodgers with a run in the first, a run in the second, and 3 in the bottom of the 7th. The Indians with 1 in the second, 1 in the 5th, and 2 in the 7th. Dodgers lead 5-4. Fedorovich came over from the Red Sox in that deal of young prospects last year. They sent Trayvon Robinson up to Seattle. Two balls and 2 strikes.
Another guy that is a work in progress from a receiving end, from a hitting standpoint as well. Well, we saw them gunned down, and thanks in part also to Kennedy, who went up and got the throw from Fedorovich, made a good tag, but the footwork has really improved with Fedorovich.
Bobbled by Lopez, and he has 1 play, and that's Fedorovich at first. Engel again too fast. And perhaps the speed of Engel kind of forced the issue on Lopez a bit.
Speed's a wonderful thing, and you talk about secondary leads. In other words, leading off as the pitch is going to home plate. And the difference was the second baseman, Lopez, trying to really make the play before the ball had arrived, and he had only 1 play left. That was to try and get the out at first.
Now Josh Fields steps into the batter's box, and he has had a very nice spring for the Dodgers. 11 for 29. That's a .379 average. Terrific athlete who played quarterback in college football.
You and I hear another term that is used. We hear so much, well, he hit this and he did this, and here's what the percentages are. And here's the other part that you talk about with Josh Fields. He gets it. In other words, he has an idea in what he's doing.
Well, what's interesting, played at Oklahoma State. So he's used to playing in front of 75, 80,000 people. He was a starting quarterback there. Played in the Cotton Bowl, where he threw 307 yards against Ole Miss. And so he's certainly not intimidated by the scene. He's been used to it since he was just a young kid. Here's the 1-1 instead. Zip steps off the rubber, and Engel has to dive head first back into the bag. It's another reason why the Dodgers are so high on the pitching prospect, Zach Lee. Again, used to playing in front of big crowds, understanding big moments.
I also love those players that individually have great expectations of themselves.
Fields being one of them. 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out. Foul back, 1-2. Fields came up with the White Sox in 2006. Just had a cup of coffee with the Royals in 2010. Played half of last year at Colorado Springs and then hit the road to Japan. Played for the Yomiuri Giants. One ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. The speedy Matt Engel at second base. And Fields fouls off a breaking pitch.
Here's a spot too that speed gets you the benefit of one additional thing for Fields. And we've seen him trying to go to right field a little bit more. Well, because of the speed of Engel, the second baseman Lopez is really kind of shortened up at second base. It opens up more of a hole to the right side. You see how far Lopez is not that far off the bag at all because of the speed of Engel.
So it gives Fields more room to work with. So he pulls it foul and breaks his bat.
Yeah, the other part of it is Sip knows his second baseman's close to the bag, so he came inside and jammed Fields. There's more than just get the ball, get the sign, and throw it. There's a whole lot of strategies on both sides. And some more strategy just added by Agnazi, the catcher, who goes out and talks to Sip as Fields gets a new piece of lumber.
Josh Bard is on deck, and so he will get a crack at it here in the 8th, barring a double play. Fields 6'2" and 220. Trying to go the other way, fouls it off. Kershaw pitches tomorrow against the Brewers over in Maryvale. No broadcast of that game. Will be on television again on Monday at 1 o'clock local time. Chad Billingsley, John Danks, the White Sox here at Camelback Ranch. Now the 1-2, low and outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Good at bat for Josh Fields.
Well, good at bat for him, and Angle would love for a ball to be put into play where he can utilize that speed. The other thing about Fields, you look at him, chokes up a couple of inches on the bat with 2 strikes, trying to get better leverage, back control.
Dodgers in search of their 11th win of the spring. They've had 7 losses and 4 ties. The Indians 6-12 and 3. Sip on 2-2. Fields will not go quietly. It made perfect sense for Josh Fields to play collegiately at Oklahoma State. Grew up in Stillwater. Two and two, and Sip steps off the rubber again. Fields has a chance to elbow his way onto this 25-man roster.
They stayed alive by handling both sides of the plate. Again, we saw Sip trying to come in. He's already broken his bat once by coming inside. But Fields has also been able to foul off a couple of pitches that were out over the plate. So he is defending the home plate area in the strike zone pretty well right here. And with 2 strikes, it's survival.
Engel continues to lead off second. Lopez trying to bird dog him a little bit over there. In the dirt. And it's 3-2. Jerry Sands and Tony Gwynn have been playing on backfields today to get more at-bats. Gwynn having a solid spring, and Sands trying to find his sea legs. Here's a 3-2. Josh Fields works out the wall.
Boy, what an at-bat. Sip tried everything but the kitchen sink and throw in that sequence of pitches. He worked inside, outside, up, down, breaking balls, and Fields was having nothing to do with it. Never did expand the strike zone.
So today, it's like you've been talking like the Home Depot. We've been talking about windows, doors, kitchen sinks.
Mm-hmm. You've been talking about Oscar Robles?
It's spring training, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Just checking. Josh Bard fouls it off, and it's 0-1.
Bard's father, Ron, was he served in the Connecticut State Legislature for 8 years. Attorney, went into the politics. And Bard, a two-time All-American out of Texas Tech.
Go down to second base, and Engel is back easily.
We really get the feeling that the Indians are preoccupied with Engel. Yes, he does represent the 6th run. That would be a 2-run lead by the Dodgers here in the 8th inning, but it appears to have affected Sip. It is affecting their defense. And it's that argument what speed can do for you.
Well, we saw that right from the beginning of the game today when D. Gordon led off with a bunt down the third baseline, stole second, went to third on a throwing error, and Mark Ellis would ground out, and before Derek Lowe knew what hit him, it was 1-0. Bard takes a breaking ball for a strike.
Pretty good hook right there. Bard made his major league debut August of 2002. He homered in the 9th inning to give the Indians a 4-2 victory. Just the 2nd time in history a player hit a walk-off home run in his major league debut.
Bard on 1-2, grounds routinely to short, 1-2. That will end the 8th. Last at bat for the Indians if the Dodgers bullpen can do its job. 5-4 Dodgers. We go to the 9th. To the 9th inning in front of 10,247 today. Dodgers with a 5-4 lead, 3 in the home half of the 7th, and Jamie Wright on to close it out on a day that began with 5 solid innings turned in by Chris Capuano. Struck out 5 and walked 2. Wright trying to hang on for a bullpen spot, the veteran right-hander. 2 shutout innings on Wednesday, has not allowed an earned run in his last 3 outings spanning 4 innings. Had a good year in Seattle last year. Wright and Graybo. Graybo pitched to one batter, retired him on 3 pitches today, each trying to perhaps elbow their way into the bullpen, which appears to be a source of strength for the Dodgers this year. New hitter for the Indians, Argenis Reyes. So this is his first and only at-bat. Jamie Wright fouled off the end of the bat. It's 1-2.
Jamie Wright, a big guy to begin with, 6'5", 210. Signed out of high school. He was the Rockies' #1 pick in 1993.
Now 37 and has 13 years of major league experience under his belt.
Yeah, you just showed that breaking ball. When he gets on top of it, that's really a pretty good pitch for Jamie Wright.
Reyes has been struck out by the 37-year-old veteran out of Oklahoma, Jamie Wright. 1 out, nobody on in the ninth.
He missed with the one, but then the other one was too tantalizing because the bottom literally falls out of it. So Reyes, who did not offer it the previous one, went fishing there, and Wright wins it.
Jose Lopez, 2 for 3 today, a run scored. Dodgers lead 5-4 with 1 out in the ninth, and Wright delivers a strike, 0-1. Wright came up with the Rockies in '96. He's gone on to pitch in Milwaukee and Kansas City, back to Colorado, the Giants, the Rangers, the Royals, the Indians, Seattle. Fly ball left field, and that's going to be tracked down by Corey Sullivan. There's 2 out in the ninth.
Ball hit solidly by Lopez, a fastball out over the plate. And just a little glance by Sullivan to see exactly where that warning track was to let himself know how much room he had to go back.
Indians are down to their final out, and big Shelly Duncan steps into the batter's box.
Number 47, Shelly Duncan.
Wright stands 6'6", and so does Duncan. So a battle of the big men with 2 out in the ninth. Duncan came up in the Yankee organization and spent most of his career bouncing around in the minor leagues.
Yeah, there's that breaking ball, and Duncan, he gave up on it. He was exiting the building. And that hook came back, got the corner, according to Jordan Baker, the home plate umpire.
1 ball and no strikes. To shortstop, this should do it. Cruz picks it up, throws across the diamond, and that is that. So the Dodgers win their 11th game of the spring, 5-4. Back with the line score from Camelback Ranch in Glendale after this.